Hello dear viewers, time again for the news here on Rwanda Television. My name is Serge Nhori. As always, we'll begin with the headlines. Rwanda's Senate President has urged all Rwandans to denounce ideologies and actions that seek to negate and deny the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi as the country prepares to mark 29 years since the terrible atrocities that claimed more than 1 million lives. Rwandan law experts have been reacting to the decision by President Paul Kagame to pardon Paul Rusesabagina, Calixte Nsabimana and 18 others who were convicted of terrorism and other related crimes. Now the details. Thank you again for taking the time to join us. The President of the Senate Chamber in the Rwandan Parliament, Dr. François-Xavier Kalinda, has urged Rwandans to resist genocidal ideologies and the denial of the genocide that was perpetrated against the Tutsi in this country. He made the remarks after the Umuganda community work in Kivumu sector, Rutsiro district, that's in the western province. Prince Manzi with the details.
Rutsiro district is one of the districts bordering the eastern region of the Democratic Republic of Congo, where reside some of the genocide against the Tutsi perpetrators, and still having the genocide ideology. As Rwanda prepares for the 29th commemoration of the genocide against the Tutsi, the Rwanda Senate President demonstrates that the commemoration comes as the numbers of the genocide deniers have deducted, but requests Rwandans to do everything to prevent themselves from anything that challenge the unity of Rwandans.
Kwirinda ingengabitekerezo ya jenoside ni ikintu kigomba gushyirwamo ingufu.
Preventing the genocide ideology is essential. We are concerned of people transmitting it across the border. This means that in ensuring our security, it goes hand in hand with preventing the genocide ideology because it threatens our security. Rutsiro district residents say that they are aware of the aftermath of the genocide against the Tutsi on the Rwandan society and hence at the forefront in strengthening their unity. What we saw, none of us would want it to reoccur, and it is our job to make sure no ideology in our district. The Senate President, accompanied with various senators and the governor of the Western Province in the Muganda community working in Kivumu sector, contributed in making terraces on Kabuye Mountain. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
People being assisted by the government to come out of poverty through social protection programs have noted that their lives are steadily improving. New national initiatives have been introduced in an effort to eventually end poverty in this country. Olive Nete with more.
Residents of Tumba sector of Rulindo district say that the government's essential support to those living in poverty continues to assist them in their development.
They gave me physical activities in the VUP. They also provide me with iron sheets, and they also built a house for me. And what is great, the President of the Republic gave me a cow. Now I'm trading the manure so that I can improve my livelihood.
Yamaye n'inka ubundi kugurisha agafumbire nkagira icyo nigezaho.
Muri uyu mwaka umwe tugeze nko kuri miliyoni imwe n'igice twese tuzigama. Uretse ko tutayareka.
This year we saved about 1.5 million. We used those savings to give loans to each other. The goal is that we shall move from just saving groups to a cooperative.
Ku Kimina tukajya muri cooperative. Tukaba cooperative.
The mayor of Rulindo district, Mukanyirigira Judith, says that last year over 3,000 people signed an agreement on social protection program and some of them achieved the goal.
Mu karere ka Rulindo rero nkuko nabwiraga umwaka ushize mu kwezi kwa kane.
In the district of Rulindo, last year in April, residents who have signed the social protection program were 3,302. Among those, we have those who relocated and those who passed away. In total, there are 23 people. Now we have 3,279 people who signed the agreement which assists them in the fight against poverty. Those who have already improved their livelihoods are 726, and those who are currently in the program are still many, which equals to 1,829 people. And there are also 724 people who have not yet even started the program.
Ariko hari nabo bona batarantera intambwe nkuko tubyifuza 724.
In order to eradicate poverty in the population, the government of Rwanda has established a social protection plan to provide direct support to extremely poor households by following the resolutions of the cabinet meeting on November 1st, 2022. In accordance to the new set measures of supporting residents in fighting poverty, these measures are expected to reinvigorate existing social protection programs to accelerate the fight against poverty. The Minister of State in the Ministry of Local Government, Ingabire Assumpta, points out that a citizen is assisted through signing the social protection program, which lasts for a period of 2 years. Low-income families are offered a joint support, then they sign an agreement and are followed upon and trained, and they are also advised on how to carry out the plan. And after a period of 2 years, we evaluate to see the change made. I don't know if you noticed what changed in the new program, but the change is the role of a resident in the implementation of the program by working hard for it, and second, to provide the resident with sufficient support. If you give him a cow, give him also a job in the VUP, and also one of the children in the family should be assisted to learn technical vocational skills. And you can understand that this is a joint support to assist our homes in the fight against poverty. This program was launched across the country after meetings that brought together the Ministry of Local Government, the provinces, the city of Kigali, and the districts. Partners at the provincial level were explained how it is going to be implemented and the role of each party, especially resident, who will benefit more from it. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Experts in the justice sector have noted that the commutation of sentences demonstrates the principle of a government that respects the law. This comes following the presidential pardon of Paul Rusesabagina and 19 others who were convicted of terrorism and other related crimes. Prince Manzi with the details.
The office of the U.S. President released a communique stating that President Joe Biden welcomed the decision of the government of Rwanda of releasing Paul Rusesabagina and thanked the government of Qatar for facilitating. Paul Rusesabagina and Karikst Sabimana Sankara and 18 others are some of the individuals collectively commuted by the presidential order after their request letter. It is not the first time, as in various times, President Paul Kagame granted commutation to the convicted of different offenses, including genocide. In 2018, President Kagame granted commutation to Victoire Ingabire and was released 7 years earlier to the end of her 15-year sentence after being convicted of planning to cause state insecurity and promoting ethnic divisionism offenses and supporting a terrorist group. The deputy government spokesperson, Ale Mukurarinda, states that clemency to a sentenced person is the right choice towards breeding a law-based and united nation.
Muri kino gihugu habaye ibyaha ndengakamere ibyaha bikomeye mu bindi ni n'icyaha kimwe gikomeye mu bindi cya genocide.
In this country that endured various major crimes because war crimes and crimes against humanity are crimes below genocide. So if in 2003 genocide perpetrators were committed and returned in the society, so it is a thing we do voluntarily based on our culture as well as laws. If genocide perpetrators were granted clemency, I see no reason why a person convicted of terrorism can't be pardoned as the justice was served.
Ntabwo mbona impamvu ku cyaha cy'iterabwoba abantu bagukatiye imyaka 25 utababarirwa cyane cyane iyo ubutabera bwabaye.
A law expert, Faustin Murangwa, states that for people who committed major crimes and they are granted clemency after requesting the President of the Republic demonstrates how Rwanda is a country based on laws and principles.
Intego y'ubutabera si uguheza abantu mu magereza.
The purpose of justice is not to detain people for long, but rather to correct them. When they are corrected, there's an analysis if the correction was effective. And when the person requests for clemency and it is granted, he returns in the society and help in developing the society. Murangwa reiterates that laws determine what to follow if the committed recommits a crime. Where he was while being granted clemency, he continues, without ignoring the fact that you can be sentenced for the other crime you committed. In short, the sentence is combined. The government of Qatar also thanked the government of Rwanda. Qatar facilitated in discussions that led to the release of Paul Rusesabagina. The spokesperson of the Qatari Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Majed Ansari, reiterated that the Rusesabagina issue was discussed in various meetings that convened Qatari and Rwanda high officials. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Rwandans and Ugandans, especially those engaged in business, are pointing out that the strengthening of bilateral relations between the two nations is a sign that the cross-border trade and movement will become far more efficient, which is a good thing for both sides. Prince Manzi once more.
This hope is based on different meetings, including the Joint Permanent Commission between the two nations. Rwandans who invested in the transport sector in Uganda appreciate the borders were reopened and the movement is vibrant. But some of the citizens say that not all products are green to cross the border. Entrepreneurs crossing the border are those that retail in big amounts and pay tax at Majerwa. We want also small entrepreneurs to be given access because they pick those that retail in big numbers. And yet us, we rely mostly on small entrepreneurs. Mirembe, one of the entrepreneurs in Kigali City with an origin from Uganda who is in Rwanda for the past 20 years, states that most of the products essential for his restaurant are not allowed to cross the border. He would appreciate it if these products were introduced in Rwanda. It is a burden to us, but we manage. They are food we used to prepare for people, and they are no longer doing it. But the opening of the borders was an amazing move. But as all the issues are being overcome, even more Ugandans will come here. You see now that Uganda Airlines is also going to be landing here. We are returning back to how it was. Discussions that convene the private sector from Rwanda and Uganda are a demonstration of the will on both sides in ending challenges in trading in both countries. The spokesperson of the Association of Uganda Citizens in Rwanda, Fred Sendaura, reveals that he is confident that soon things will be as they were.
Like Banyarwanda say, that nazibana zitakomana mayembe. The end results you find we are losing, and you know when you lose time, you are losing money. So today I'm seeing like things are coming back to normal. So when I interpret it or when I integrate it with the meeting that was here just of recent, the JP something, that business forum meeting, it is really very these days. So it means the economy itself was affected. It means the people, ourselves, our personal economic statuses were affected. So this organization for our two countries, Rwanda and Uganda, is really important, and I believe it was even late. I wish it was done like yesterday.
The Uganda Minister of Foreign Affairs, General Dongo Jeje, states that there should not be any reason preventing the cross-border trade between the two nations, and the Minister of State in the Rwandan Ministry of Foreign Affairs International Cooperation in charge of the East African Community, Professor Nshuti Manasseh, comments that challenges still found are to be resolved.
Took note of the challenges affecting bilateral trade, such challenges as and everywhere I went to meet government officials, they told me, we would like to come there, but bureaucracy. My understanding of bureaucracy actually is corruption.
Non-tariff barriers, they are there, but they are put in by people, they are removed by people. They are not superficial animals out there. These non-tariff barriers, whether they come in the form of corruption, can be removed by people. And so we need to be talking, which are these barriers? Because if you don't address them now and talk about them now, they won't be addressed.
Rwanda and Uganda share long economic, investment, and cultural history. Citizens of both nations say that the movement of people and goods is essential for their development. Prince Manzi, RwandaTV News.
Thank you, Prince. And now our health segment for today, and Olivenhete speaks to a surgeon about a particularly troubling yet completely avoidable dental condition. Take a look.
Hello and welcome to our weekly health feature, and today we are going to talk about oral health, but oral health is wide. Today we are going to talk specifically about gingivitis. Gingivitis is a gum disease, and today we are going to hear more about the symptoms, what are the causes, who are the people who are at risk of having this disease. We are currently at Jubilee Dental Clinic to talk about gingivitis, and today we are joined with Dr. Michael Kagoda. He's a dental surgeon. He's going to take us deep into this topic and explain us more about gingivitis. He's going to tell us about the cause, the symptoms, and how this disease can be prevented. Before we start more on the symptoms and everything, we'd like to know briefly, what is gingivitis?
Gingivitis, in other terms, is what you would call inflammation of your tooth gums. And when we say inflammation, we mean your gum should have one of the following characters. It could be swollen, it could be itchy or painful, it could be dusky red, not the usual red. Some people have red gum, but when it's dusky red, it's more like scarlet red, bloody red. And then it could also easily bleed when you touch it. Let's say you bite on a sugar cane and it's bleeding, or you wake up in the morning and there's blood on your pillow from your gums. Yeah. So when it has one of those characters, yeah, we call it gingivitis.
Before we go to the cause of this disease, how common is gingivitis and who is most at risk of getting this disease?
Surprisingly, gingivitis is quite common, and almost all of us are candidates to having gingivitis. But there are people who are more at risk, so there are risk factors to it. Yes. People who have poor oral hygiene practices. You'll find that is very common with your adolescent boys. Your boys who are 9, 10, 12, they don't like cleaning their mouth very well. They are very high risk of gingivitis. People who are older in age, people who are 45 and above, very high risk factors, risk patients of gingivitis. People who have hormonal changes, like let's say pregnant women, when there are changes in their hormonal balance, or people who are in their menstrual cycle, the gums become very sensitive to microbes, so they're high candidates of gingivitis. People who have low immunity, for example, people who have HIV/AIDS, people who have diabetes, people who have cancer, or people who are on certain medications, for example, people taking antidepressants, people taking medications for hypertension. Those are at a very high risk of getting gingivitis.
Can gingivitis lead to other health problems? And if so, what are they?
So when we say, like I explained to you, the character of gingivitis, when your gums are bleeding, it's a sign that the blood is coming from your blood system. It's a sign that your capillaries in the mouth, the small blood vessels, the smallest, are open. That's why blood is flowing to your mouth. But what caused them to open there are microbes coming, multiplying from poor oral hygiene in the mouth. So this means those same microbes can easily enter those capillaries and are into your blood system. So research has been done recently, and when your mouth is a constant source of microbes, they have related those microbes to many other diseases that are general. Respiratory diseases, those are diseases in your breathing system. It's been related to diseases of the heart. Yeah, like microbes come from the mouth and they constantly seeded into your blood system and end up in your heart. You've heard of diseases like bacterial endocarditis. Those are diseases of the heart. Those are commonly related to what's in the mouth. So there's a lot of diseases it is connected to, because now you have a constant source of microbes entering your system.
What is that hygiene that we should follow? How many times should we brush our teeth?
Okay.
How can we brush our teeth effectively?
Okay.
What are the methods?
Okay, so when we say oral hygiene, it involves toothbrushing, it involves flossing. That's what you can do at home. The brushing should be at least 2 times a day, in the morning and in the night before bed. The most important time is the night before bed. Because the reason you and I have a smelly mouth in the morning is because as you're asleep, your mouth is not active. So the protective effect from your saliva is not there. So those microbes multiply much faster. So at least 2 times a day you should be brushing, but you can better it by brushing after every meal. Yeah. And then when you go to brush, take at least 2 minutes. It shouldn't be rushed. At least 2 minutes. You should spend 2 minutes brushing. Try to brush all the surfaces of your teeth. Inside, outside, top. Yeah. And then flossing, floss at least once a day.
If you allow me, what is flossing? Because sometimes people may get lost.
So usually floss comes in something like this. So it's technically just a string. Okay, you pull that, break a piece, then you just roll it on your fingers. So this string you slide in between your teeth. Slide in, run along the surfaces of the teeth and then pull out. Usually if you've eaten anything and it's stuck in your teeth, as long as you pull out, it will come out with all that stuff. So that time before you brush, the night time, it's important you begin with your floss to remove all that food that's in between your teeth. Your toothbrush usually never goes in between your teeth. So this pulls out everything in between your teeth. Then after that you can do your toothbrushing.
We are giving you some good tips on how you can keep your mouth clean or how you can maintain your oral hygiene. Before we sum up today's interview, we do have a picture here. If you would explain more about this picture and why is this person not having teeth here? Is it because of gingivitis? You're going to explain more and you're going to tell us if gingivitis can also cause tooth loss.
Yes. So in worst case scenario, gingivitis causes tooth loss. But this is one of the ways it can lead to that. You see the level of bone he has there? So when you have gingivitis, the constant irritation makes your bone levels drop and eventually your gum follows your bone. So you end up with more root showing in the mouth. And naturally the roots are a bit rough than what the part of the tooth that shows in your mouth, which is shiny. So those easily attach more microbes. And then instead of gum disease, now you have decays, tooth decay on your roots. That's how you end up with a lot of caries, and you end up losing teeth. When you're there, you need a lot of artificial restorations, which is quite expensive.
So we should tell people that they have to check early for these diseases.
Prevention is always cheaper than trying to treat.
Which is good. So this is all that we had for you today, and we were talking about gingivitis. I hope this information was productive and beneficial to you, and we really think that you are going to take care of your oral hygiene because it is really essential. Thank you very much for following. My name is Olive Nete. Back to you in studio.
Thank you, Olive. Now, moving on. On Friday, the Capital Market Authority, in partnership with the RNIT Iterambere Fund, launched the 10th edition of a competition aimed at increasing knowledge about saving, that is, and investing in the stock market, especially for university students. Students say they learn a lot thanks to this initiative.
A lot, because when we say about investment, is about starting a business. As a business student, so it's a better way to start my business in the future.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Rwanda National Investment Trust, Jonathan Gatera, reminded the students that they should always think about their future and begin to consider saving while still young.
You can save starting with little. And if it comes within you and you know that your priority should be saving, it is important for young people to embrace and accept to be taking lead, not only for their own personal development, but even for the development of the country. We need to save whatever little we have for the better future of our country.
Winners in the Capital Market University Challenge will be presented with prizes and shares of the stock, that is, shares on the stock exchange. Now, on Friday evening, the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Rwanda held a ceremony that featured the handover between outgoing and incoming leadership of the institution. Jessica Gasaro with more.
In the handover ceremony, they were able to return to the history of the institution and that convened of what has been achieved and how much the outgoing council appreciate the progress made by this institution and how beneficial it is to the country as a whole.
Institute, it's a part of what doing a business in Rwanda, because you can imagine if we didn't have accountants in Rwanda, every investor would be importing an accountant into the country. And here we are able to give them these qualified people. And we do a lot in terms of taxation. We do a lot in accounting, in advisory services. And in fact, the professional accountant is a part of doing business in Rwanda.
According to the ICPAR law, the member of the council hold office for 2 years and are eligible for re-election or reappointment for the further term of 2 years only. The new president was honored for the new role, and he explained what to expect for his new mandate.
Expectation is that the institute must grow to greater heights. Where we are 15 years later, the kind of hassles we went through ever since 2004, as you heard from the fondateur, president, the hassles, yes, but the necessity is still here. We have to do more than was being was being done yesterday. The expectation is growing higher and higher and higher.
The Institute of Certified Public Accountant of Rwanda was launched in 2008 with only 17 accountants, and now there are 889 accountants. However, the Institute would like to express its heartfelt gratitude and utmost appreciation to the ongoing President, Vice President, Governing Council member, and Disciplinary Commission member for their selfless service and support to the Institute. Jessica Agasaro, RwandaTV News.
That's the end of the news, but other programs do continue here on Rwanda Television, so stay with us. Goodbye.